Right, yesterday we looked at equivalent fractions, so today we're going to look at comparing fractions. So what we're going to do is we'll look at two different fractions and we're going to say, are they greater than, less than, or equal to each other? So we're going to compare them. So let's look at an example. Say I have the fractions 3/5 or 4/5. Which one's larger? Well, it's very easy for us to compare them when they have the same denominator. You see, both denominators here are 5. So if I have a candy bar split up into 5 pieces, and I have 3 of them, or I have a candy bar split up into 5 pieces, because remember your denominator is just what the fraction is split up into, and I have 4 pieces, it's pretty easy to see that I'd much rather have the candy bar with 4 pieces. They're both split up the same, they're 5s. I'd rather have this one, so 4/5 is larger. Fairly easy to compare fractions when those denominators are the same. Let me put a few up with similar denominators for you to try. Go ahead and try 3/7 or 2/7. Oh, geez, not equal. Sorry, I meant to put a circle there. Try 1/3 or 2/3. And I want you to try 6/10 or 6/10. So take a second, pause your video, tell me are those greater than, less than, or equal to each other. Okay, if you did this correctly, you would have told me that 3/7 is greater than 2/7. You would have told me 2/3 is greater than 1/3. And you would have told me that 6/10 is equal to 6/10. Again, pretty easy to compare fractions when they have the same denominator. Now here's where it gets tricky. Let's say we have two fractions with different denominators. So, for example, I have 1/2 or I have 3/4. How do I find out which one's bigger? And that's when we get into the hard part of comparing fractions. Because we need to change these denominators. We have a 2 here, and we have a 4 here. We need to change those so they're equal. So there's a couple steps in this process. You might want to write these down. Step 1, we find a common denominator. So to find a common denominator, we take both of our denominators. We have a 2 and a 4. We take them and we have to find the common multiples of them. So I write 2 and 4. And then I find the multiples. So the multiples of 2 are 2, 4, 6, 8. And the multiples of 4 are 4, 8, 12. We need to find the lowest one they have in common, which you can see here is a 4. So our common denominator we need to find is 4. So we need to have both of these denominators, the 2 and the 4, be a 4. So this one's already a 4 here. We don't really have to change anything. We can leave that 3/4. But the 2 here, we need to change that 2 to a 4. So we'll use our skills we learned yesterday with equivalent fractions. I had 1/2. And what I want to do is make that a fraction with a 4 on the bottom. So what I'll do is I'll go 2. Well, I know 2 times 2 is 4. So if I times 2 on the bottom, I have to times 2 on the top, just like we learned yesterday. So 1 times 2 is 2. So I know now that 1/2 is equivalent to 2/4. So let me change that up here. Let me see here if I can figure this out real quick. Let's erase this. So I now know that 1/2 is actually equal to Sorry about this, I'm still learning how to change my colors around here. So I know 1/2 is equal to 2/4. So I can change that to 2/4. And now I can easily compare them, because I can see that 3 is bigger than 2, so 3/4 is bigger than 2/4. So your first step is common denominator. Your step 2, you have to change the fraction. And then step 3, we compare. So make sure you write those steps down. I'll leave them up on the screen in a second, because it's important that, it's kind of a long process on some of these to find them, because you have to find that common denominator, then you have to change the fraction just like we changed over here, the 1/2 to 2/4, and then we can compare them, and we can put that symbol in there. So go ahead, copy those down real quick, and then I'll move on to the next sample. Alright, I'm going to put just one up here because these take a little bit longer, but I'm going to put one up here for you to try. I want you to compare which is larger, 1/2 or 1/3. So the first thing I want you to do, go ahead and do step 1 and find your common denominator. Go and pause your video and do that now. I'm going to find that common denominator. Okay, if you find your common denominator correctly, you took both of your denominators, 2 and 3, and we found multiples for them. So for 2 and 3, we have to find multiples. So let's count by 2s. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. And let's count by 3s. 3, 6, 9, 12. And you can see there, the lowest one they have in common is a 6. So we're going to have to change both of these denominators to a 6. So I want you to pause your video now. I want you to change both of our denominators, both of our denominators to a 6. So change this 2 to a 6 and 3 to a 6. Remember, you can't just change them, you have to find equivalent fractions. So try that now. Okay, so let's see how we did changing these denominators. So 1/2, we wanted to change to something over 6. So I know 2 times 3 gave me 6. And so I know I have to do 1 times 3 on the top. And I would have a fraction of 3/6. Because 3/6 is equal to 1/2. I did the same thing for 1/3. So I would go 1/3. I want to change to a fraction with a 6 on the bottom. Well, I know 3 times 2 is 6. So I have to do times 2 on the top. And I would have 2/6. So 1/3 is equal to 2/6. And now I can do step 3. Let's just compare. I can say what's bigger, 3/6 or 2/6. So go ahead and compare now. And if you compared correctly, you would say 3/6 is larger than 2/6. So make sure you have those 3 steps down. We will try those together in class tomorrow. I know they're a little bit tricky. But I hope you did a great job with it, and have a good night.